Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt something was wrong? Like your body was trying to whisper a warning you couldn't quite understand? Maybe it's that heavy tiredness that doesn't match a full night of sleep, that slight swelling around your ankles, or that dull ache in your lower back you keep brushing off. Most people ignore these signs, but I need you to listen closely, because for millions of Americans, these aren't random symptoms. They are the earliest cries for help from kidneys that are quietly slipping into danger. And here's the part that shocks most of my patients. Kidney disease doesn't scream at whispers. It hides behind everyday routines, behind normal tiredness, behind numbers your doctor says are just a little high. By the time creatinine finally begins to rise, nearly half of your kidney function may already be gone. That's how silent, how ruthless, and how unforgiving this condition can be. And it's the very reason so many people don't find out until it's too late to reverse the damage. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and if you stay with me for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you something almost nobody talks about. Not medications, not supplements, not expensive detox kits. I'm talking about 3 common morning fruits, simple, affordable, and sitting in every grocery store across America that have the power to protect your kidneys, cleanse hidden toxins, and even help restore your filtration function when used the right way. And before you assume you already know which fruits they are, hear me when I say this. One of them is probably sitting in your kitchen right now, and yet most people eat it completely wrong. So as we begin this journey, I want you to picture one simple truth. Your kidneys aren't collapsing overnight. They're asking for help in small, subtle ways. And today you're going to learn how to answer those calls before they turn into something irreversible, because what you choose to eat each morning can either be your greatest protection or the quiet trigger that pushes your kidneys closer to failure without you even realizing it. And that's exactly why this first fruit one that seems almost too ordinary holds a secret most people have never heard. Now, if you're listening to this and wondering where kidney protection truly begins, it starts with a fruit so common that most people walk past it without realizing it might be the most underrated medical tool sitting in their kitchen, the humble apple. And I say humble because its power hides behind its simplicity, yet it delivers something extraordinary for kidneys that are under pressure every single day. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 64-year-old retired teacher from Portland. She wasn't someone who ignored her health. She tried to eat well, stayed active, did her checkups. Yet her energy kept dropping, her ankles swelled after long days, and her doctor warned her that her kidneys were beginning to show early signs of strain. She felt betrayed by her own body, confused, because she wasn't doing anything wrong. But the moment she replaced her morning pastry with a crisp apple, everything changed. Over the next 3 months, her blood sugar stabilized, her cholesterol dropped, and for the first time in years, her kidney numbers actually improved. She didn't overhaul her diet or spend money on supplements. She just added an apple every morning, and the results spoke louder than any medication she'd ever tried. So why does an apple, a simple, inexpensive fruit, have such a powerful impact on kidney health? The answer starts with soluble fiber, specifically a compound called pectin. Think of pectin as a sponge that quietly absorbs excess cholesterol and waste products inside your digestive system. Instead of letting those harmful particles circulate in your bloodstream and place extra stress on your kidneys, pectin traps them and carries them out of your body. When cholesterol levels drop, blood flows more smoothly, and your kidneys don't have to work overtime just to filter impurities. It's one of the simplest ways to lighten their workload without lifting a finger. But the story doesn't end there. Apples are loaded with antioxidants, flavonoids, and polyphenols that act like tiny bodyguards patrolling your bloodstream. Their job to neutralize free radicals, those unstable molecules that scratch and damage kidney cells over time. Oxidative stress is one of the silent killers behind chronic kidney disease, and every crunch of a fresh apple sends reinforcements into your system. This isn't alternative medicine or a wellness trend. This is decades of research showing how antioxidant-rich foods slow cellular damage and reduce inflammation inside the kidneys. And here's something most people never think about: hydration. A fresh apple is roughly 85% water, meaning that every bite contributes to flushing your kidneys, clearing toxins, and supporting the filtration process. Many adults, especially seniors, walk around partially dehydrated without realizing it, and dehydration alone can elevate creatinine and worsen kidney function. An apple quietly helps correct that without you even noticing. There's another powerful benefit too: blood sugar control. High blood sugar is one of the top causes of kidney damage in America. The soluble fiber in apples slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, preventing dangerous spikes. For people like Margaret, who was on the edge of diabetes, this single effect was life-changing. When blood sugar stabilizes, inflammation decreases, and the kidneys are spared from long-term damage they can never fully recover from. And in case you're wondering whether apples are safe for people with existing kidney disease, the answer is yes. Apples are naturally low in potassium, making them one of the safest fruits for people who need to limit potassium intake. They're sweet, crunchy, hydrating, and kidney-friendly, a rare combination in the fruit world. Add in their vitamin C content, which supports tissue repair and immune function, and you get a fruit that protects your kidneys from nearly every direction. Now think about your own daily routine for a moment. An apple costs less than $1, requires zero preparation, and takes less than a minute to eat. Yet this tiny ordinary habit can lower cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, hydrate your body, and fortify kidney cells. The question isn't whether apples work, the question is why more people don't use them as the simple medicine they truly are. But as powerful as apples are, they only solve part of the problem because they don't address a silent threat that sneaks up on millions of people every year: infections that climb from the bladder toward the kidneys without warning. And that's where the next fruit steps into the spotlight, offering a kind of protection that even many doctors overlook: a fruit small enough to fit in your palm, yet strong enough to block one of the most dangerous triggers of kidney damage if you know how to use it correctly. But apples alone can't protect your kidneys from everything, because there's another threat that's far more sneaky and far more destructive than most people realize. It's the kind of danger that creeps in quietly, builds slowly, and can scar your kidneys long before you even notice a single symptom. I'm talking about urinary tract infections. Those small problems people brush off, not knowing that once an infection starts climbing upward, it can permanently damage kidney tissue. And this is where one of nature's most underestimated kidney protectors steps into the spotlight: cranberries. Tiny, tart, and often forgotten except during Thanksgiving, yet astonishingly powerful when it comes to protecting your kidneys from bacterial sabotage. Let me introduce you to Robert, a 70-year-old retired carpenter from Ohio. For years, he battled recurring UTIs, those episodes that leave you uncomfortable, drained, and constantly anxious about when the next flare-up will strike. Each infection chipped away at his kidney strength. What he didn't know was that recurring UTIs can silently accelerate kidney decline, especially in older adults. After one particularly painful episode, I told him something most people never hear: you're not just fighting an infection, you're fighting for your kidneys. That's when he made one simple change. Every morning he drank a small glass of pure, unsweetened cranberry juice. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Yet within just a few months, the infections nearly vanished. His energy improved, and the anxiety that shadowed his daily life finally lifted. It wasn't a miracle, it was science. Cranberries contain unique plant compounds called proanthocyanidins, PACs for short. Think of PACs as your kidney's security guards, preventing harmful bacteria like E. coli from attaching to the walls of the urinary tract. If they can't stick, they can't spread. And if they can't spread, they can't reach your kidneys. A study published in the Journal of Urology showed that older adults who consume cranberries regularly reduced their risk of UTIs by nearly 40%. That's not a small improvement, that's a life-changing level of protection for anyone with vulnerable kidneys. And unlike antibiotic treatments, which bacteria can adapt to and resist, PACs create a physical barrier that bacteria simply cannot bypass. But the benefits don't stop there. Cranberries are loaded with vitamin C, one of the most essential nutrients for boosting immune defense and supporting tissue repair inside the kidneys. They're also rich in antioxidants that calm inflammation, a hidden force that scars kidney tissue over time. And here's something people rarely consider: cranberries are naturally low in potassium, which makes them safe for individuals who need to watch their potassium levels. This is especially important for people with chronic kidney disease who often feel restricted in their fruit choices. Cranberries give them a powerful, flavorful option without the risk. Now, before you rush to the store, there's a crucial detail you need to know: not all cranberry products are created equal. Most cranberry juices on supermarket shelves are loaded with added sugar, sometimes more sugar than a can of soda. That kind of juice can do more harm than good spiking blood sugar and increasing inflammation, the very things that damage your kidneys. For real benefits, you need pure, unsweetened cranberry juice or unsweetened dried cranberries. The tart taste isn't a drawback, it's the taste of real medicine. And if you prefer something gentler, blending cranberries into a smoothie with apples and grapes creates a powerful kidney-friendly trio that works better together than they ever could alone. So as you think about your own kidney health, remember this: infections often strike silently, and by the time you feel the symptoms, the damage may already be happening. Cranberries give you a way to protect yourself long before trouble begins. They shield, they strengthen, and they support your kidneys in a way no other fruit can. But only knowing this still isn't enough, because while cranberries defend your kidneys from the outside, there's another fruit that works deeper, one that supports your blood vessels, reduces kidney strain, and helps restore filtration at a level that surprises even longtime patients. And the moment you understand how this third fruit works, the entire picture of kidney protection becomes clearer than ever before, because it targets a danger most people don't even realize is destroying their kidneys day after day. But only knowing this still isn't enough, because there is another factor far more dangerous, far more widespread, that determines how fast your kidneys age. And that's where we go next. And while cranberries act like a shield guarding your kidneys from infections, there's another fruit that works on an even deeper level, one that doesn't just protect, but actively supports the blood vessels, feeding your kidneys every second of the day. Because if there's one silent force that pushes kidneys toward failure, faster than almost anything else, it's high blood pressure. And the fruit that's been quietly helping thousands of my patients regain control is one you've probably enjoyed your whole life without ever realizing what it was doing for you, grapes. Sweet, refreshing, deceptively simple, yet incredibly powerful when it comes to kidney protection. Let me tell you about Elaine, a 67-year-old grandmother from Texas. Her blood pressure had been creeping up for years, just a few points at a time, nothing her doctor seemed too worried about. But those few points were slowly choking the tiny blood vessels inside her kidneys. She felt tired, swollen, and frustrated because no matter what she tried, her numbers barely budged. Then she added one small habit to her afternoons: a cup of grapes, sometimes fresh, sometimes frozen, always easy. Within weeks, her swelling reduced, her energy returned, and her kidney labs started improving in ways we hadn't seen in years. When she asked me how something so simple could make such a difference, I told her the truth: it wasn't magic. It was biology working exactly as nature designed it. Grapes contain one of the most respected antioxidants in medical research, resveratrol. Think of resveratrol as a repair technician for your blood vessels, reducing inflammation, calming oxidative stress, and restoring flexibility to the microscopic vessels that feed your kidneys. When blood flows smoothly, your kidneys filter more efficiently. When vessels relax, blood pressure drops. And when inflammation decreases, kidney tissue gets the breathing room it needs to heal. Decades of research, including studies published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, show that regular grape consumption improves vascular function and lowers markers of kidney stress, especially in older adults whose kidneys have endured a lifetime of wear. But resveratrol doesn't work alone. Grapes are loaded with flavonoids and polyphenols that neutralize free radicals before they can scar or destroy kidney cells. Chronic inflammation is one of the quietest and most destructive forces behind kidney decline, and grapes deliver anti-inflammatory compounds in a form the body absorbs extremely well. Add in the fact that grapes are nearly 80% water, and suddenly you're looking at a snack that acts like a gentle kidney rinse, helping your body flush excess sodium and toxins without the harsh crash of diuretics or medications. Most adults walk around dehydrated yet never notice because the symptoms are so subtle: fatigue, swelling, irritability, brain fog, all signals the kidneys are struggling. Grapes help correct that while giving your body something sweet, refreshing, and deeply restorative. And here's something people often misunderstand. Yes, grapes contain potassium, but in moderate amounts that are generally safe for most individuals, not nearly as high as bananas or certain tropical fruits. For people who aren't on strict potassium limits, grapes offer the perfect balance of sweetness and kidney support. And for those who are portion control, makes them one of the safer fruit choices. They're incredibly versatile too. You can freeze them for a cool, sorbet-like snack, toss them into a salad, or blend them into a smoothie with apples and cranberries to create a powerhouse combination that supports electrolytes, blood flow, and kidney filtration all at once. So when you think about improving kidney health, don't overlook the fruits that help repair the highways feeding your kidneys. Because if your blood vessels stay stiff, inflamed, or narrowed, even the healthiest foods can't reach the organs that need them most. Grapes open those pathways, reduce the pressure your kidneys are forced to fight against, and create an environment where healing is actually possible. But even understanding this still isn't enough, because the real transformation happens when all three fruits, apples, cranberries, and grapes, work together, supporting your kidneys from three different angles. And once you see how these pieces connect, the final insight may surprise you, because it reveals a truth about kidney health that most people never hear until it's too late. But only knowing this still isn't enough, because there is another factor far more dangerous, far more widespread, that determines how fast your kidneys age. And that's exactly what we uncover next. When you look at apples, cranberries, and grapes individually, each one plays a powerful role in protecting your kidneys. But the real transformation, the kind that changes lab numbers, reduces swelling, restores energy, and slows the progression toward kidney failure, comes when these three fruits work together. Because kidney disease is never caused by just one problem. It's a storm of inflammation, high blood pressure, bacterial risk, oxidative stress, and poor circulation happening all at once. That's why no single remedy can fix everything. But three simple morning fruits, each targeting a different root cause, can create a level of protection far greater than any one of them can offer alone. Think of your kidneys as two hardworking filters that never get a break. Every day they deal with toxins in your blood pressure from your arteries, sugar levels that spike and drop, and microscopic bacteria trying to climb up from the bladder. It's nonstop stress. And yet people often try to solve this entire problem with one remedy, one pill, one food. Imagine a firefighter trying to put out a house fire with a single cup of water. It's just not enough. But when you bring multiple tools together, each addressing a different part of the fire, everything changes. That's exactly how these three fruits work in harmony. Apples reduce cholesterol and stabilize blood sugar, taking weight off your kidneys' filtration workload. Cranberries block bacterial attacks, preventing infections that can scar kidney tissue and accelerate decline. Grapes improve circulation, lower blood pressure, and reduce inflammation, allowing kidneys to receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to function properly. On their own, they're helpful. Together, they create a full-spectrum defense system that tackles the three biggest threats to kidney health: poor blood flow, inflammation, and infection. Let me give you a real example from my practice. A patient named Daniel, 72 years old, came to me exhausted and discouraged. His creatinine levels had been creeping higher each year, and he felt like he was slowly losing the battle. Instead of giving him a list of 10 new rules, I asked him to commit to just one new morning routine: start his day with these three fruits, half an apple, a small serving of cranberries, and a handful of grapes. Nothing complicated, nothing expensive. Within 12 weeks, his creatinine dropped, his swelling reduced, and his energy returned in a way he hadn't felt in years. When I showed him his improved lab results, he said something I'll never forget: "I didn't think something this simple could make such a difference." But simplicity is exactly why it works. Science backs this up. Studies on polyphenols and antioxidants show that when different sources are consumed together, their effects multiply. This phenomenon, called synergy, means the compounds enhance each other's absorption, bioavailability, and impact on inflammation. In simpler terms, eating these fruits together doesn't just add their benefits, it multiplies them. It's like turning three small flashlights into a stadium spotlight. And your kidneys, which fight a daily battle most people never see, finally get the combined support they've needed for years. So when you think about protecting your kidneys, don't imagine one magic food or one fix. Think about building a daily ritual, simple, enjoyable, repeatable, that supports your kidneys from every angle. Because the truth is, kidney decline rarely happens overnight. It happens quietly, year after year, until one day the numbers on your lab report finally catch up with you. And that's why combining these fruits matters. It gives your kidneys support long before symptoms appear. But as powerful as this combination is, just knowing it won't be enough, because there's one more insight, far more important, far more personal, that determines whether your kidneys heal or continue to decline. And it's something most people don't discover until they're sitting in a doctor's office, staring at lab results they wish they could change. And once you understand how these three fruits work together, one lowering inflammation, one blocking infections, one improving circulation, you begin to see a pattern that most people miss. Kidney health doesn't collapse from one bad meal, one stressful day, or one missed habit. It collapses slowly, quietly through years of inconsistency. And that's exactly why the final most important piece of this entire blueprint isn't a fruit at all. It's consistency, not perfection, not dieting, not rigid rules, just small repeated choices that compound over time and give your kidneys the steady support they need to heal. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. A patient of mine, Linda, 69 years old, warm, sharp, full of humor, had lived through decades of start and stop health routines. She would try something for a week, maybe two, then drop it the moment life got busy. And every year her labs told the same story: creatinine inching up, GFR slowly slipping down, swelling becoming more frequent. When she asked me why nothing ever worked for her, I explained what no one had ever told her. Your kidneys aren't asking for intensity, they're asking for consistency. And when she finally embraced that idea, starting her mornings with apples, cranberries, and grapes, drinking more water, walking 10 minutes a day, her numbers stabilized for the first time in 8 years. She wasn't perfect. She was consistent, and her kidneys responded. Science has a name for this phenomenon: cumulative benefit. Numerous studies show that small, repeated behaviors, especially those involving antioxidants, hydration, blood pressure control, and anti-inflammatory foods, create long-term improvements in kidney filtration, vascular health, and metabolic stability. In other words, you don't need massive changes. You need sustainable ones. Your kidneys are filtering your blood every minute of your life. They don't need a miracle. They need predictable support. And these three fruits, when eaten regularly, provide exactly that: hydration in the morning, antioxidant protection throughout the day, and ongoing defense against infection and inflammation. That's why patients like Linda make progress while others stay stuck, not because they know more, but because they repeat the basics until their bodies begin to trust them again. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't flood it once and hope it survives the year. You water it a little each day, pull a few weeds, make sure it gets sunlight, and eventually it begins to flourish on its own. Your kidneys are no different. Give them steady support and they regenerate more than most people ever imagine. Ignore them and the decline can sneak up on you like a shadow. And that's why the final realization is so important. Your kidneys don't fail overnight, and they don't heal overnight either. But they do respond beautifully to consistent care. So before we reach the final part of this message, I want you to ask yourself one question. Are you willing to give your kidneys a small daily commitment, knowing it could be the difference between staying healthy and facing dialysis later in life? Because the truth is, even with the right fruits, the right habits, and the right science, there's still one more factor, a deeper, more dangerous influence that determines how quickly your kidneys age. And most people don't recognize it until the damage has already begun. And that final piece, the one almost everyone overlooks, is what we're about to uncover next. So as we reach the end of this message, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not powerless when it comes to your kidneys. You don't need dramatic changes or complicated routines. You simply need small, steady choices that protect you day after day. Even if your labs haven't been perfect, even if you face fatigue, swelling, or fear about the future, your next chapter is still unwritten, and your kidneys can respond beautifully when you support them with intention and consistency. You've already taken the most important step by learning what actually helps your body heal. And if this video gave you even one helpful insight, please take a moment to save it so you can come back whenever you need clarity or encouragement. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, because every week I share the newest medical research, practical tips, and simple daily habits that can help you protect your kidneys, lower your creatinine, and stay out of the danger zone. Your health matters, and staying informed is one of the strongest tools you have. Before you go, remember this: your kidneys are not asking for perfection. They're asking for care. They're asking for consistency. They're asking for small acts of love that over time can change the entire direction of your health. You have more control than you think, more strength than you feel, and more hope than you may realize today. And I'll be right here walking with you through every step of your kidney healing journey. Your best days of health are not behind you, they can still be ahead of you, starting now.